This is an article that caught me off guard when I read it. I was like, no way. Is this real? Canadian Olympic Committee warns athletes not to criticize China. Oh my. This is where we are at. Look at this. This is kind of freaky. I don't know if you know this, but Canada and China have been buddying. Well, I should just say Justin Trudeau and China have been buddy. Like, China has been doing military drills in Canada, and vice versa. The Canadian troops are over in China doing military drills. Weird.
That is the single scariest thing that I heard, and I'm not kidding. I'm not over exaggerating. What I'm thinking right now is that the one thing that we had with all these crazy bullies running around is we had our own bully. And he wasn't a bully in the sense that he was picking on people. He was a bully in the sense that he's not going to deal with your crap.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we have a people who are like, yeah, no, don't worry about it. Everything's going to go fine with war. We're not going to worry about war. We're going to do war if we got to do war. But yeah, don't worry about that. Oh, we're going to keep all this giant military around us. But that's off the topic. What I'm having an issue with, and what is genuinely scaring me, is the fact that China is that close.
Yep.
I didn't know that until you just said that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like,
that's basically our backyard.
That is our backyard.
Well, it's Canada.
It's our upyard.
Upyard. Canada might be a little pissed to hear that we consider them our backyard. But I mean, they
would say
they're our neighbors.
We're their backyard.
Okay.
Just being in the backyard doesn't mean that your house is any crappier.
But it's your property still.
Our shared backyard.
The neighbor.
You're our neighbor. We'll
just go with neighbor.
Good grief. They, them.
Yo, you got to be careful with the semantic world, man. People go, Canadians just freak out everywhere. Tonight on Adamcast, his random guest, Fernk, claims Canada is actually America.
Yeah, no. Canada's awesome. I love America.
I've been to Canada. It is awesome. It's beautiful up there. All right, check this out, though. A Canadian Olympic Committee says its athletes should avoid publicly criticizing China ahead of the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing due to concerns that critics could be prosecuted under the Communist Party's national security laws. The Globe and Mail reported on Tuesday. So why are we having the Olympics in China at all? If we're even thinking that there's a possibility that China's going to come down on the citizens, like, what?
And does this not read like to anybody else as a freaking email? Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't you just send this out to everybody? Why are you letting China know? Hey, I know you guys have been saying some crazy crap, but we need you to not be doing that. We need you to like.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. By the way, don't do this. But let's blast it out to the world so China knows that there's actually so clearly some of their athletes are criticizing China.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. David Schumacher, Chief Executive Officer in the Canadian Olympic Committee, said the committee plans to spend a considerable amount of time instructing its competitors on what they might consider not commenting on, perhaps at least until after the games have taken place. There have been dissidents in Hong Kong who have been taken away and charged for saying things that have been contrary to the Communist Party of China's Chinese government's policies. Schumacher told the paper. So we will talk to our athletes about the implications of what they say and of the topics that they choose to speak about. My goodness. Human rights activists have called on democratic governments to boycott the games due to the growing evidence of China's brutal repression of the Uyghur people.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. In the United States, Senate Republicans introduced legislation this week to move the Olympics to a different country, arguing that the flagrant human rights abuses committed by the government of the People's Republic of China are inconsistent with Olympic values.
Rude.
Thank you. A White House spokesperson said Wednesday that the Biden administration has no plans to boycott the Olympics at this time. Are you surprised?
Of course, of course.
Of course, this is so surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. China has carried out a systemic campaign of abuse against its Uyghur minority population for years, and its action came under renewed scrutiny this week after the BBC published a report detailing horrific first-hand accounts of abuse at government-run concentration camps. Former prisoners said they were subjected to rape, electric shock torture, starvation, and sterilization. They were also forced to memorize books of Communist Party propaganda at re-education centers. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo designated the Chinese government's action as genocide as one of his final acts in office last month. The Biden State Department is currently reviewing that declaration, according to Biden's nominee for United Nations envoy. Who works for China? I'm sorry. Who does Biden work for? I mean, works for America, right? He supports America, right? I don't know anymore. I don't know. Do you know?
I think if he does enough things, he becomes a real boy. So I think that's what it boils down to. No, but what I was going to say is, and this is, I'm being genuine right now. At what point, like, it's freaking, like, because the guy's name isn't Hitler that's running it? Is that why we're letting this fly?
I don't.
Why isn't the world standing up? I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either.
Like they're calling them concentration camps,
and they are sterilizing the men and forcing the women to mate with people that they choose and harvesting their organs and the forced labor. It's like the list goes on for what China is literally doing right now, and they've been pushing this campaign of like, this is all fake, it's not real, the world is making this stuff up. Well, then why is all this evidence coming out about it then? Like,
then let us find out. Let us find out if it's all
you
fake.
You want to go try to find out?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if our country hadn't been stripped of its backbone, we could say, let us look. Mm-hmm. Or the rest of the world. What's going on? Why is everyone, like, we don't even need to know what the conditions are in the place. I know that sounds awful. Hear me out. We don't even need to know what the conditions are because it's called a concentration camp.
Yeah, exactly. Or the weird connections between the governor of Georgia and the fact that he was constantly visiting the consulate of China in Houston, and the fact that we found out earlier in the year that it was actually a spy ring that was being run out of there, and they actually burned all the papers and bounced and then kicked out all of our U.S. emissaries from China. Like, what did people even remember what was going on there? Like, there's some stuff that went down over the past year that just does not add up onto, and like hearing what I followed Mike Pompeo and like the things that he was talking about, and he was calling them out hardcore. Granted, he also said, like, you know, we'll transfer to a second Trump administration. You know, he was very, adamant about that. So, like, clearly he was wrong about that.
Right.
You know, but, like, was he wrong about calling China, current actions genocide? I don't think so. I think it actually is. From all of the things that I've seen about what's going on there, it's pretty damning evidence.
It's awful.
It's awful.